This is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
That's right, everybody.
Party town. That's where we're going to. Party town. It's Super Bowl week. Can we say that?
Fuck. We're sued. Sorry, Roger.
Fuck.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Well, we already did it once. So Super Bowl week.
I can't wait for that.
Let's do it like somebody who's really trying to cash in on it, but has no like legal right to say it. Hey, this week is
Philadelphia.
No, this is the big game.
Yeah.
Football's greatest moment. Don't left out on the cold during the big game.
Philadelphia versus Kansas City, because that's the only thing we have rights to is the city names.
It's the big game.
Yeah.
You know, the fucking big one. Have to clobber you over the
That was
head to buy this TV?
That was always so much fun to write copy for Super Bowl week. Because, it was that shit. Yeah,
That's right. You worked in a radio station where I have yet to be in a position in media where I have to write anything except for, well, I had my show. I had to write the rundown for that and stuff, but that's not really, you know what I mean?
You know, come to think of it,
Yeah, like writing copy for like spots.
you don't realize how much I don't realize how much writing I actually did in that time period.
They taught us that in the school I went to. Like they would have, okay, so this one we're gonna teach you how to do 30-second commercials.
Yeah.
And then one day, like after a couple of days of like just fucking around, one day we got to school and they're like, all right, so you have 2 hours to make a 30-second commercial and have it ready to go in 2 hours. And we were like, oh,
Like video.
they were trying to make us like just a audio radio, but or an hour or something.
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
trying to give us a deadline because sometimes that happens. Like, hey, I need this in like 10 minutes or whatever.
Oh yeah, those were always fun.
And from experience,
Don't miss that life.
when I first started in radio, they were like, you have 30 seconds to do this. I'm like, what? That's not nearly I can barely blink in 30 seconds, sir.
Yeah.
Now I can have a smoke, take a piss, maybe send a couple texts in 30 seconds, and then probably call a guest.
You would be surprised.
It's surprising how long 30 seconds is to me now.
You'd also be surprised how long 33 minutes have gone by, and that's what's happened here tonight.
33 minutes?
No, 3 minutes, not 33. That would be crazy.
So are you saying that our
this
first
is
3 minutes is bullshit?
Yeah,
Wow.
Everything about our lives is bullshit. Okay,
Everything about our
they don't care
lives
about us, man.
is fucking bullshit.
They're here for the hot goss, is what we're giving them this week.
The hot goss about the celebrities. Hey, by the way, if you need help and you have that much money, just go to a therapist.
You could afford it.
Instead of coming up with a plan where you and your wife expose your wife to like everybody. Just thinking.
Well, anyway,
out loud.
So episode 188. I'm Jake. That's Tyler.
I'm Tyler, and I'm kicking some ass tonight.
Wow.
Sorry.
It's kind of like the calm before the storm, because
What happened?
well, I guess the next episode will be the one before Captain America.
Yeah.
Because Captain America comes out on Valentine's Day. So
Yeah, we'll do we'll
have an episode before that.
We'll have an episode between the Super Bowl and the
Captain
movie,
America,
and we're
yeah.
going on Sunday, which we usually do.
So anyway, like I said, calm before the storm, but we still got some things to talk about.
There's a lot coming up. Did you end up watching Friendly Neighborhood?
Not yet.
Me neither.
Well,
we'll get to
we don't
that.
have to talk about it this
We'll
week.
get to
we can
that.
catch up.
No, I want to.
Because they're probably
when
like 20 minutes.
Isn't that on your rundown somewhere?
It is.
Well,
but
then we'll talk about it then.
yeah, okay.
What's up first?
Yeah. What would be John Travolta?
Listen, we're radio people. We have
Saturday
fake
night,
radio voice. Do you want to do our fake radio voices for a little bit?
No.
Okay.
Every idea you have, I'm just gonna shoot it. No, absolutely not.
Hey, this is Tyler, and I'm here to talk to you about comic books.
This I say this because this week's episode we're gonna have a few news stories, and then we're gonna be reviewing a comic book. But there are things to talk about because there is a lot, like you're saying, there's a lot of shit coming from both Marvel and DC in the coming months.
It'll be like old times where we had like 3 shows to.
We talked about it last year. July is going to be super fucking exciting because it's going to be Superman and Fantastic Four. Which
I thought you were going to say Fat Teddy.
You want to talk about like
Superman and Fat Teddy, because you're guys like cool. I can't wait for the Fat Teddy.
Can you imagine that movie?
Fat Teddy,
dude. Fucking Fat Teddy.
Fat Teddy.
Emotional roller coaster. What a movie. Fat Teddy. Have you seen
the twist at the end of Fat Teddy is one for the ages.
Anyway. But no, yeah. It is kind of poetic that Marvel's first family and a new Superman movie are coming out at the same month, same year.
It's not the same week, is it?
Well, I thought it was. I'm pretty sure the trailer just said July 2025. I think Marvel might be moving out of the way for Superman.
Well, I mean, why would you? There's so little space in the market.
Because they're both supposed to come out July 11th. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But
that would be nuts. What would we do that week? Go see one on Saturday and one on Sunday?
Shit. That's going to be so expensive.
We'd have... I know. Well, we do both matinees, so it'd be $20 for the tickets each.
Well, this is a good conversation to have on air, huh? So anyway, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the first bit of news.
You.
Fantastic Four, the first steps, first teaser, trailer, whatever you want to call it.
That's me
drops.
gargling the balls of whoever's in charge of this movie.
So I feel like a couple things. One.
Did I just talk about gargling balls?
You sure did, bud.
All right. You sure did, pal.
You sure did.
Moving on.
Back to the traffic.
Back to the traffic. It's congested in town. It's East Mixmaster. Okay.
188 OPOT. Anyway, fuck yeah. Couple things I really loved about it. It is obvious. It's this interestingly vague timeline we're in because it's got this retro futuristic look to it. It also seems
I think it looks like the 60s.
I think it's going to be like Deadpool and Wolverine, where it is a movie in the MCU, but it's almost self-contained. And I think there's going to be something with incursions, and we'll kind of go further into that. But just overall, you and I were talking about it before we recorded about like I was geeking out about the Thing's look because I think he looks great.
I do too. And whoever's doing the fucking Foley for the fucking rocks, chef's kiss.
And the fact, and this is so silly to geek out about, but the fact that his eyebrows look like he looks like he does in the comic books. And they did the best they could of bringing that to live action. And I think it worked. And there's some people that are a little nitpicky with it.
There are.
And you know what? I think it'll get better by the time the movie actually comes out. There's still time to work on that. I think it looks fine as is. I'm enjoying.
Better than the first one.
I liked it.
It's way better than the second one. The Josh Trank.
Yeah.
But anything's better than that one. First impressions.
Herbie's in it.
Herbie's in it. The music was basically just a bunch of people singing different notes. Oh my god. Which is awesome.
The end of the trailer. Oh, okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, shut up.
I'm excited about it.
Shut up.
This is so funny because
no, we're both excited because it looks really cool. When we talk about looking like, okay, right now, Robert Downey Jr. has the natural look of a Tony Stark. He's got dark hair and he's got kind of the goatee thing going on, whatever, right? Now, Mark Ruffalo, natural Mark Ruffalo, does not look like the Bruce Banner from the comics that I imagine, right? But he does such a good job that it doesn't matter to me, right? So, I want to preface that with what I'm about to say with that because, no, I honestly, like, there's not much about Pedro that's like, oh, you're Mr. Fantastic, you're Reed Richards. In fact, he has a little bit of gray at his temples, but he has a pencil-thin mustache. I don't know any real iteration of Reed that if he doesn't have a full beard, he doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
And, again, nitpicky because, I mean, what is Reed Richards really like. I've read comics about.
What did you think about Reed, like his interpretation, at least what we saw?
Well, we didn't even see him stretch.
Yeah.
Did we?
And he sounds very wooden in the scenes that we saw. Like there's something
Yeah.
going on. But the music, the art style, I was
Vanessa Kirby.
Oh, and the thing where
Perfect.
the end of it where she's like, yeah, Ben is always a rock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Johnny's Johnny. You know, we'll face this as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that fucking money shot of Galactus. And
I'm
I'm like, oh shit, we're going there. So now
sorry,
Luke and
that was
I,
me just.
Luke, friend of the show, and I were talking about it. And he said, he goes, I'm gonna say a couple things. Like he was nitpicky about it because he's like, I'm just complaining, is what he was saying. Like I'm just nitpicky. But then he also wraps it up by saying, ironically enough, it looks like the fourth time is the charm. And just on this trailer, I'm like, whoa, we're hitting something different. Where like, I think what those 2005, 2007 movies were trying to do. We're trying to play into that campy tone of the early Stan Lee Kirby books,
Sure.
but it was still rooted in that early 2000s style of superhero movies, where now I think we're fully embracing that era in this movie because him and I were going back and forth. He's thinking Galactus is eating up like full on timelines with these planets. Like it's not just planets; he's eating full on like timelines, and he's getting to this.
That's an interesting.
I think it's incursions.
Interpretation. What?
I think either this is a pocket universe or this could be the same universe that caught Monica Rambeau at the end of the Marvels, which
Maybe.
had Beast in it.
Perhaps.
And I'm thinking, are we going to do a double whammy and just bring in Fantastic Four and the X-Men, say they're in the same universe, and do it that way? There has to be some sort of incursion,
I think what they're going to do is leave it vague. I think they're not going to really say by the end of this movie where we are in the timeline or which timeline we're in. And I think the reason why they do that is on purpose, because then when the battle world comes together, which is probably just going to be a bunch of different timelines of people in the Secret Wars, that's when they all meet for the first time. That's when you realize, oh, those have been different, whatever. Like, obviously, we know Monica Rambeau is in a different timeline, but we won't know Fantastic Four until Secret Wars. And then...
But I just... Yeah.
Then everybody... That's when they do... It's not really going to be a soft reboot. It's just going to be like, hey, so now the mutants have always been here.
I just don't think you... Because they've done it in the past, but I just don't think at this point you can do this retroactively putting them in the main MCU.
I don't think you can, no.
You can't. You have to do some sort of incursion or something, because this is obviously going to lead to Doomsday, leading into Secret Wars.
If there's a writer who can make this, who can make the Fantastic Four have existed in the MCU the entire time and write it out in such a way that it makes sense that we've never heard of them, I'll fucking buy you. I'll buy you a car, dude.
Because the most we got was Ant-Man, right? Like, it was... Hank was...
But they were kind of undercover anyway. They weren't, like, super popular heroes.
And yeah, Captain America was the first.
Right.
But he had already been frozen for so many years. So, like, I don't know. But maybe there's a way to do it. But to never have the Baxter Building in the background, never have it referenced, there has to be some...
I'm saying that, like, yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I'll buy you a car, because I don't think it can be done. I think the only plausible way that won't just piss everybody off
is this a different...
Because you can't just say, like, well, they've always been here. We just... Fuck you, dude. Like, don't even... Well, now all the movies we did before this are going to be special editions because we're going to shoehorn the Baxter Building into... You know what I mean? Like, are you going to seriously retcon it that hard? Because if you do, I will literally stop.
Something else you just pointed out.
Really. What?
Or you pointed out earlier that I just thought about. Because as you were saying that, I was, like, replaying of, like, trying to figure out the timeline because, you know, he's explaining the powers. You're right. Reed doesn't stretch at all in the trailer. Everybody else, they get their powers.
I just realized that as we started talking that, he's the only one that didn't.
More importantly, do you think, maybe end credits, maybe not, does RDJ show up? Because he's Doom now.
Yeah. So
does Doom show up at the end of this movie in the post-credits? Or... are we completely holding off Doom until Doomsday?
I don't know. I would expect some sort of reference. I would expect some sort of reference to Doom in the next 3 movies. either the one coming up or the Thunderbolts or Fantastic Four. I don't know if you can't if you've already kind of told us that like the villain is Galactus or whatever, you can't really start with Doctor Doom also.
And they've already done it. They've already done Doom
don't
3
do
times.
that for me, right? Yeah, right. And they've never gotten it right.
Yeah.
He went to college with Reed. Reed tried to tell him that the experiment he was doing would blow up in his face. Victor Doom said, Von Doom said, fuck you. Did it anyway. It blew up in his face. What does he do? He blames Reed Richards and put that iron mask on for the rest of his life. That's Doom. He's not a CEO of a company that turns into metal that's magnetic or whatever the fuck they were doing in the Trank movie. God knows. I don't fucking even know
I don't
what
know.
they were doing.
I don't remember.
I remember he was in it, but I don't give a fuck.
You know what we should do? We should rewatch those shitty movies for the show leading up to be like, look what we had to deal with to get to this. Because I think this looks, and again, I cannot stress enough how much I love that we are, again, rewind it 25 years to that first X-Men movie when we're mocking the idea of comic book accurate fucking costumes. And now here we are in the 4th iteration of the Fantastic Four, and it's the classic Stan Lee Kirby look. It's like, goddamn.
Oh, my God. No, and here's the thing. Here's why I think it's in the 60s.
It's gorgeous.
Because of some of the architecture that we see.
And that retro look.
Well, the car, which I don't know if that's supposed to be the Fantastic car at the time that they have. But when it's driving through the streets, there's other 60s style cars around it. So it does have to take place in the 60s, whichever timeline. I think obviously we get the Shalabal Silver Surfer. Now, a lot of people have conjectured that proves that it's an alternate timeline. However, does it?
Yeah, we don't know.
I'm just saying that having a Silver Surfer with a Galactus, and maybe Galactus turns... Who's the old guy? Is that Nathaniel Richards? Is that his dad? Is that Reed's dad?
Oh, yeah.
The old guy. Who's the old guy?
I don't know.
Are they going to make it somehow that, like, another Reed Richards in another timeline, like, somehow fucked everything up and became Galactus for this one, and that's his punishment? Is that he has to go after all the Reeds, and this is the one that stops him?
That's pretty wild. That's a wild theory. I'm into it, though.
I hope you fucking put a little marker on there, because we're going to, in a couple months, we're going to know.
Do you have the almanac?
I feel like that's a way to...
That's crazy. To do the Council of Reeds?
Not necessarily. Just say
that.
Hold
on. But what do you think of the subtitle? First Steps. So could that also still be implying somehow, some way, this is still the first family in the MCU? Why First Steps is what I'm trying to figure out.
You have to have some sort of mass like memory wipe if you're going. That's the only way that makes sense to me in the current MCU to tell me that the Fantastic Four were there and they've been gone for a while, but now they're back. And this is their origin story or whatever in the 60s. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah. I don't
Now,
know.
I know that we're not going to get like them flying and getting pelted by... We'll get like a flashback version, but it's not going to be like the first two
Yeah, they've already done their origin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad James Gunn was like, we're not going to see Batman's fucking thing. If you don't know by now, you're dumb.
You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
All you need to know is they went on a mission in space and they got superpowers. That's all that fucking matters.
Right.
Peter Parker got bit by his fucking spider. Like, we all know. Yeah, let's just fucking get to the thing.
Right.
We've been doing this shit for 25 years. We can figure it out.
Now, clearly, like, she's talking to some reporter and, like, telling him, like, every Monday we have dinner, da-da-da.
Yeah.
And they show him making dinner and sitting
And again,
all
he's
down.
very, like, weirdly wooden in that performance. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something going on in that sequence.
Well, he doesn't... Yeah, okay, so there's a...
So much speculation.
Holy fuck. No. It just came to me, dude. There's a... Wow. Okay.
Lightning rod. Here we go.
Yeah. There's a... John Byrne took over the book in the 70s, and there's a storyline that he used where things seem to be perfect for the Fantastic Four, but they're not quite perfect. They can... they feel like, whatever, and Reed thinks... something about it, and he cuts himself, and he actually blacks out from the pain, and he realizes, he's like, oh my God, like, I know what it is now. And what it is that the puppet master who is Alicia Masters' stepfather, by the way. Alicia Masters, Thing's girlfriend. Okay. He, along with Doom, made a giant, like, state, like, of area, you know, like, for their their size. And their size is, like, you know, this. But the Puppet Master is, like, really good with tech and also controlling puppets and whatnot, or whatever. And he makes all of these little people and stuff, and Doom traps them in this like domed like thing in Latveria in his castle. What if
they have to break out of that? That's what the first steps is they break out.
What if this plays on that? Because in the storyline, they're not quite sure. I think when they first use their powers, they're like, oh my God, because they're not aware of it. So they've been memory wiped a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, clearly here they have their powers, da-da-da-da. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, what if, bear with me.
This would be insane.
What if everything that they're experiencing is a simulation that is being perpetrated on them by Doom and the Puppet Master?
And they just keep making Galactus kill him?
No.
Like kill the...
I'm saying Galactus is not real. It's a simulation, whatever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what timeline they're in. They could be in our timeline. And for all we know, Doom trapped them the moment that he like got hurt. I don't know. I'm going crazy now. Like at some point he trapped them and was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna let anybody find out about you. And this is the '60s style. You've been here for 40 years and nothing's changed because you don't realize that it's all a simulation. And I've trapped you for all of this time." And nobody's ever known about you. All that anybody knows, it's a footnote in history like the Challenger for everybody else. Reed Richards and his girlfriend and her brother and his best friend went up in a rocket and they died back in the 60s. But Doom took them and he put them in a simulation and he's been rotating it for like decades. How about that?
That'd be pretty crazy.
How about there's a fucking way. I'm going to give myself a car. There's a way to put them in MCU proper, and they've been here all this time.
Dude,
that's
how you say what Doomsday is. Doomsday is...
They think that they're the Fantastic Four in their simulation, and that's why it's always been the 60s and why they're having a fucking reporter come in and watch them eat dinner and shit, right?
Yeah.
Because they're in a simulation. It's not real. But to them, they are the Fantastic Four. So Doomsday, when they finally break out, everybody's going to be like, who the fuck are you? And they're going to be like, what do you mean, who are we? Oh my God. Shit. That was
maybe.
You've never heard of us?
If that were how...
That's a way to write it in, right? Isn't that a perfect way to write it in?
I mean, it could work.
Nobody ever knew about them because nobody has ever heard of them.
Or it could just be an incursion because you've already mentioned incursion.
Fuck your incursions.
They've been mentioned.
Lazy
They've
writing.
already mentioned it.
I don't care. Oh, we'll just make it that two timelines are...
They're docking.
We're just doing some docking. Rocking with docking. The dream warriors don't want to dream no more. I'm a docking fan.
You know
Dokken, not... That's the band. Docking.
Yeah.
Not what you're talking about, you fucking sicko. Now, what are we talking about?
Dr. Doom, Docking Galactus. Different movie. I think I rented the wrong one.
I think I rented the wrong title.
This is Fantastic XXX.
This is Fantastic Fur?
That's the sequel.
So I'm very, very excited.
Just imagine
Jesus.
Fantastic Fur.
I'm all I can say is like I got home. You texted me, so I'm on the radio for like 6 to 8 a.m.
Oh, yeah, you're
every
cool.
day. No, I'm just
Yeah, I know. I'm playing.
while I'm doing that, I'm generally not looking at my phone. So I got a text
Yeah.
from you. I saw it, but I'm driving home. I'm getting breakfast and getting home. I get home and I kind of at one point when I was like waiting in line at the drive-thru or whatever, like kind of pulled my, you pull down the screen to see what the text might be about.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was like a link, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to look at it till I get home, right? Because I'm not gonna watch whatever.
Wow.
I'm not in the car. I'm driving. Whatever. Asshole.
What if it was serious?
Yeah, let's not be safe. Let's be serious, not safe. Duh. Sorry. It's so mean. What was that all about? But then I get home and it's like 8:30 in the morning and
Yeah.
I'm super tired because like I mean it's really early for me. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I gotta eat breakfast first and go to the bathroom and maybe even take a shower. Like I want to make sure that I'm ready to go for this thing because I'm
gonna get the
I
tissues.
I saw what it was. Like I don't want to make a mess. Because I was almost positive that I was gonna. I wasn't thinking that I was gonna see the thing right away like that. I did not expect that.
Yeah, and
that it was all orange.
and him to look as good as it does.
Right.
Oh, and the fact I love that they even made sure to give you a shot of him like his eyes.
Yeah.
To see like yes.
Well, his nickname is Old Blue Eyes.
Well,
one of them.
But it's also to kind of show like yes he did mocap for this. Like we actually used his face to make this and whatnot. But it looks great. The eyebrows are the perfect scowl for that. And I did joke when I sent it to Luke. I said I'm bricked up like Ben Grimm. After watching this,
Dude, my pants were full of bricks. You know what I'm saying? Like not like that.
shit yourself.
No. See, I was trying to say that like I had a brick. Like rock.
What, Tyler? You pointed at something. What did you point to?
Pointing to my dick. Fuck off, God. Jesus.
Why did you make me say that?
Make me say it out loud. My genitalia.
A big old balls.
Hog. Sorry. Woo!
That's gotta be a new sound drop.
Hog. Was that fucking Chewbacca? Chewbacca? Okay, so
Just me cranking my hog with my buddy.
yeah, oh, wow.
Just two dudes cranking their hogs in the
base.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
All
So
right.
we really dug the Fantastic Four trailer. I'm excited for it. Can't wait to
Fourth
see
time's the charm.
more. Yeah. So up first is Brave New World. Now, did you read about
Porn?
Did you read about Harrison Ford? They asked him who would win in a fight, Red Hulk or Hulk, and what his answer was.
Probably I don't give a shit. I'm just saying that's usually how he responds to those things.
Oh, I thought you were saying I don't give a shit. Okay,
no, not me.
Sorry.
I was saying he did.
That's why I reacted the way I did, you fucker. A friend of mine posted it, and he's like, "Hey, I think he's getting like dementia, LOL." And his answer was, "I'll give you the same. It's the same answer as who shot first. So Greedo shot first." And my interpretation of that is he's saying the Hulk would win.
Mm-hmm.
Duh, right?
Yeah.
Is that not how
I
you
mean,
interpret it? I don't.
Sam doesn't even have the serum, so he would easily win.
No, the Hulk and the Red Hulk.
Oh, Red Hulk, yeah. Cause
We don't know what happened to the Red Hulk.
First of all, it's Thunderbolt Ross, and he's a vet, dude. So he knows how to fight, and Bruce Banner is just a fucking nerd that got big and green, dude. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Tell me I'm wrong, and then I'll slap in your face.
I'm sorry, I was pulling up the next
Let
topic.
me you can tell me to vamp. I can do that.
You
I can
did.
blab about shit.
And that's
all
why I didn't hear the
fucking-
beginning of that. And
I
I
can
sounded
blab.
like a jerk. So anyway, Anthony Mackie pissed off the chuds.
Oh,
And guess what?
those sad little
I'm not
fucks.
surprised.
They control everything around us. What the fuck are they bitching
My
about now?
favorite is when like a guy like heel versus babyface, who's British, likes to say like Captain America hates America. I was like, go drink some tea.
How the fuck do you know? Man?
But it's always funny when it says
Yeah, well,
that.
Captain Britain sucks Britain's dick. How about that?
Especially when he thinks like American values are like the right wing bullshit that him and his buddies like to spread. But anyway,
Hey,
Anthony Mackie.
hang on a second.
Jesus.
70 million motherfuckers out there, all right, fucking voted for that shit. Voted for this shit that we're going through right now. And I want to go on record as saying, fuck Donald Trump, okay? And fuck all of you who voted for him. Because this shit is fucking crazy, and it hasn't even been a fucking month yet. It hasn't even been a fucking month yet. You fucking imagine what it's going to be like in 6 months when we're all dying and starving in the
We
streets?
can't fly anywhere because there's nobody that works for the
Fucking
fucking
Christ.
FAA.
They're dismantling the Department of Education,
Yeah.
man. What the fuck?
So can we?
Anyway, on to the next. No, I want to go on record. Fuck Donald Trump.
Shout out to whoever posted this on Reddit. I had their username and I lost it. But someone posted this on Reddit and provided a couple of quotes that I thought was like, hell yeah. This really backs up what I was thinking too, because I thought first of all, what Anthony Mackie said was super tame. And I have the full quote and I will read it. But people are overreacting because this is how our media cycle works. You find the most minute, stupid fucking thing to be mad about. You make it a much bigger deal than it is, and then profit. So, I am not going to bother you with pulling up all these fucking losers' YouTubes and giving them a fucking view and going through the editing shit of that and listening to it. I'm not going to do it because I'll tell you what they're going to say. Captain America hates America because he said this. Quote, Anthony Mackie here. Quote, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. It's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity. Someone who is trustworthy and dependable. End quote.
When I was growing up, that's exactly what I thought an American was. Then I grew up and realized that ain't at all what fucking real Americans consider themselves. In fact, most people who are quote-unquote patriots or real Americans or whatever are the most untrustworthy, most undependable, most fucking slide-handed fucking two-faced motherfuckers in the fucking universe, and they're just out to get a buck at the expense of everybody else. So, honestly, I like striving for better, okay? I don't like this whole make America. You can't just make it better, fuck faces.
So I want to.
God damn it.
I want to break down what he said. Also, he did respond. It was like, "Can we just chill the fuck out and watch a movie?" I agree. Andy.
Yeah.
I don't. Goddamn. I want to break down what he said because he's not saying anything bad about America. All he is saying that he doesn't feel like it should be Captain America because it doesn't. All the things that he said, someone who is trustworthy, dependable, has honor and dignity and integrity, are not solely an American values or solely an American thing. And to think so is ignorant and stupid.
Sure.
Because it's just a morally good person.
Right. But shouldn't... I'm saying...
That's what he's getting... No, I know. But that's what he's getting at. And I'll go even further thanks to this Reddit post. Here's a longer quote from Chris Evans. When at similar question about Captain America, he says, quote, well, to me, I'm not trying to get too lost in the America side of it. This isn't a flag-waving movie. It is red, white, and blue, but it just so happens that the character was created in America during wartime when there was a common enemy that even though it is Captain America, I've said before in interviews, it feels more like this should be called Captain Good. He was created at a time when there was the undeniable evil, and this guy was created to fight that evil. I think that everyone could agree that Nazis were bad, and Cap just so happens to wear red, white, and blue. That's another thing I want to point out, everybody that's mad about what Anthony Mackie said. First of all, he said something very tame. Second of all, Captain America's not real.
Yeah, and if Captain America is Captain America, then why didn't he fight in the Pacific Theater? Oh yeah, he did not. Although some of the stuff that they have comics are pretty racist shit.
Oh yeah, like one of his Asian enemies has the name Yellow in it.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah,
Yellow Fang or something like that.
There's some serious bad
propaganda. Yeah.
For all the good they did against Hitler and the Nazis in their comics. When the war in the European theater was over, and it went to the Pacific, we don't see too many of those comic books being reprinted and stuff. And woohoo! Look at this.
I have one more quote to really drive this home. Yeah. This is from Captain America in a comic book, the character itself. Listen to me, all of you out there. You were told by this man, your hero, that America is the greatest country in the world. He told you that Americans were the greatest people, that America could be refined like silver and could have the impurities hammered out of it and shine more brightly. He went on about how precious America was, how you needed to make sure it remained great, and he told you anything justified to preserve that pearl of the great price that is America. Again, driving home the point that, yes, Tyler, because you read comic books and I actually read comic books and give a shit about these characters, I understand that the character has evolved over time and is no longer a patriotic propaganda piece. Writers have reiterated and refined the character and turned him into what you said. He is a symbol of the idea of what Americans should strive to be.
Yes.
You want to be a version, because like Chris Evans said, like Anthony Mackie said, we put America around it because he was created in America. But yeah, it's about being a good person and standing up to bullies and fighting for what's right.
To me,
that's what the character's always been about.
To me, okay, look, were we perfect in the 40s? Fucking hell no, man. We were going through a Great Depression and shit. I mean, it was bad news, right? But to the rest of the world, we were the beacon of hope and light in the world. We were like, dude, we'll come in and we'll help you. We know you can't, do it alone. So we're here. We're here to push us over the top, right? And defeat these evil, whatever. That's what we should all in this country, that is what the type of country that we should always be striving to be, is the country that everybody around the world thought we were in 1949. No, more like 1946, because I think by 49 we were doing the communist bullshit in Korea.
Well, I mean,
and by then we were being
black
fucking
people like shit.
I'm saying that
and other minorities.
I'm saying that what everybody else in the world thought of us.
Mm-hmm.
I admitted that, yes, there were definitely some wrong shit going on.
No, I know. Yeah,
black people and women could not vote still at the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's what I want to say. Where
we should always strive to be that beacon of light and hope to everybody else in the world.
So,
I hate this cutting off federal aid. Fuck you, motherfucker.
I'm not.
Fuck.
I'm never gonna say
just
that.
Peppering my shit with anti-Trump slogans.
I'm never gonna say that. We're never gonna do Griff Report ever again. I don't know if we will. I just don't have the energy to.
Yeah.
But I'm so over this shit that I deleted my Twitter account. Like I just don't care anymore. So I say that to go at it from this angle and be like, I do not, and I want to reiterate this real hard. I do not give a shit what any of those people have to say anymore. So whatever heel versus babyface says, or Nerd Rock, or Geeks and Gamer, there are other much more talented people that cover them and dismantle their shit and do that, and they're much better than I and much more time than I, and good for them.
Yeah.
And I think we should keep, and I personally should try and do my part to boost them and do whatever I can.
What the fuck?
That's the stuff, because quite honestly, I don't need to make this content anymore, because I can just tell you what they're gonna say, because I know what it is. They're gonna read that comment.
They have a fucking playbook.
They're gonna say,
they have
well,
a playbook.
He said it's not America. He just said right there, America's not good. America isn't. You can't be this if you're an American, which is not what he said.
Yeah.
So then they're
so
gonna
it doesn't matter.
They're gonna drill that for the next week or so until the movie comes out. Then they're gonna say the movie's gonna fail because of this, and then when the movie does well and exceeds. Maybe doesn't exceed expectations, but does well, because these movies always do well. Even if there's a huge fucking fall off, they still make money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they're just, it's the same shit. They're going to recycle it, and then we're going to take all that. And then I'm sure they're already making shit about how Fantastic Four is woke and how that, all that shit, because they hate Pedro Pascal.
Over the next 4 years.
I can do it all for you.
Over the next 4 years, we're not going to talk about this during this hour, because throughout the rest of the week, we'll be dealing with it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've kind of looked out the window, but holy fucking shit. Wow. I don't watch the news anymore. The few times I catch news, I'm like, fuck. And then I'm like, turn that shit off.
Run away. And that's
my Twitter is all independent artists and stuff. Like I mean, for the first couple days after the inauguration, I got tons of I swear to God, a couple of those fuckers have 17 different fucking accounts. You know what I mean? In the current administration, and people that fucking do so I was just blocking hey, they have another one, block.
So
but since then it's been all, so I don't really do, but look, whether you like it or not, your grandparents probably are if they're still around, are really probably disappointed in you if you're buying this bullshit.
And I'm gonna be quite honest. If you look at America, every country has skeletons in their closets.
Holy
and
shit.
Horrible, bloody, disgusting pasts. All of them do. But honestly, in the last 10 years, specifically in the past 10 years, since some fuckface got on an escalator, have you felt like this is a good place to live? Have you felt like this is a good place to be? So when Anthony Mackie makes these comments, when Chris Evans makes these comments, which, by the way, there was outrage for Chris Evans, but not the level of this like Anthony Mackie's giving. And that's because, let's just fucking say it, it's because he's black.
Yeah.
It's because he's black.
Yeah.
And trust me when I say
he's already fighting an uphill battle in this climate because he's a fake Captain America.
Tyler, do not be surprised when, not Nerdrotic, he's too smart, when Anthony Mackie says the N-word with a hard R talking about this movie or something else, because she's already done blackface on her Twitter account. Be ready, because it's only going to get worse for Anthony Mackie. It's going to be like Brie Larson on steroids, because that's the country we live in now. Racism is on the table.
Yeah,
And by the way, they continue to be the worst fucking winners on the planet, because Trump killed DEI for you guys, but yet you continue to still drum up shit like this over Anthony Mackie and shit. Again, you won. DEI's off the fucking table. You won, and you still can't be happy with that. You still got to find ways to generate money. So you got to build up some fake outrage over the nothing burger of a comment where he had to even make a follow-up, be like, can we just chill the fuck out? We can't. We can't fucking enjoy Captain America anymore. We can't enjoy comic books anymore because you fucking scums of human being excrement just have to exist. And I'm not going to engage with them anymore. I'm not. And this.
So what's next on the table, on the topic?
One more thing. And I want to do this as a joke to this. This is a fun.
You can do two more things if you want. You know what I'm saying?
That was kind of my stance on it of like, I'm not dealing with this shit anymore because I like you said, it's been. When I woke up Saturday morning, February 1st, and I said, "Oh my God, that was just January, wasn't it?" That was the longest January of my life. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. And I was unemployed last January. That's how sad.
But that's why that January wasn't that long, because you were having fun.
It was sane. For a little bit.
There was at least a couple weeks where you knew you had a job.
No, I know. I'm just playing.
What were we talking about?
But, well, we got one more thing to talk about, which is Chuddy, but I just thought it'd be funny. Chuddy related, but it's more fun. So you and I have talked about, I think, on air a little bit before we did this, but we had talked about we were going to watch Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and we have not watched it yet.
No.
I truly forgot. I'll be quite honest. I knew we were doing the comic book this week, so I completely forgot about the show.
Well, we only had a couple because we're I don't know if they did like a week off or what. Or I don't even know. I know it started with Batman and then did Wonder Woman and Superman. So it's 3 in a row and then a week off because every month has 4 weeks, right? But then Wonder Woman, I didn't get that one until I'd already read Batman #2, right? So I have no idea where we're at. As far as I know, Absolute Superman #4 is supposed to come out tomorrow, which is Wednesday, February 5th this week. But as far as right?
Yeah, February 5th. Tomorrow's the 5th. When this goes out, it'll be February 5th.
So, but also the place I go to where I have a pull list, they've been having problems with their distributors, so I might not get it till Thursday. But as far as I know, Superman #4, and then Batman #5 next week, and then I believe 2 weeks, and then Wonder Woman #5, or and then Superman #5.
I was talking about the book we're going to be reading later, but anyway.
No, I'm saying that's why we don't have an absolute book.
I do intend to watch the show. I do want to give the show a chance.
Yeah.
However, I want to laugh at this with you. So we were just talking about chuds. So the main actress or actor, excuse me, Hudson Thames, I think.
Hudson Thames, the whitest
Thames.
fucking name in the fucking universe. Is he British?
He was talking to Collider. So he was talking about.
What was his full comment?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
He was talking to Collider about like how he felt about their version of Spider-Man.
Do we have the question and then the answer?
So he says,
Okay.
quote, well, that's what it was. It was the reimagining of the characters, how this is framed in the sentence from the article that I got it. Blah! I don't know where I got it. But the interview itself, Collider, I thought it was awesome. I mean, my biggest fear, this is all quotes for him. I mean, my biggest fear was that it was going to be annoying and woke, and it wasn't. I was like, yes, this is great. It's so well written. Like, it feels real. I'm the oldest of 5 boys, so I feel like I kind of know what's happening in their lives and in high school, and it felt like it was doing that justice, end quote. Can we just fucking kill that word? Can we do it? Because just like throughout history, white people just killed that word and made that word mean nothing like it was intentionally meant, and it just kind of kills all meaning.
Here's what I'm gonna. Let me just say this. The first thing that I know, I'm pretty sure when he took the job, or by the time he did this interview, he was aware of the fact that Norman Osborn was gonna be black in this show. Am I right? He had to have been aware of that, which is in itself, according to the chuds,
Well,
woke.
you would think he would see the character models, yeah.
Woke, right?
Yeah.
So he already knows that it is, quote unquote, woke. He's got to when he says this.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, I'm going to give him a pass for not knowing what the fuck woke means because he's an idiot and he just fucking heard it on Fox News one night. But I do got to say this. Get out of the fucking acting game, dude. Because if you don't care about anything, I don't want to fucking see you in anything.
What a weird
Because if you
comment.
don't have passion about anything, what the fuck? How the fuck are you going to bring passion out of me in any of your
You think that
performances?
he can't stand for something.
Can
It's
I just say
weird.
this one thing?
Go for it.
There used to be this porn star named Audrey.
Please go. Try and thread this needle. I want to hear this. Please. Can I give you the showrunner's quote? There was a Reddit AMA, and he responded.
I heard that he was that he said I know him, and I don't think he meant
Says,
what he
I
said.
love Hudson
Yeah.
and didn't focus too much on what he said. I believe he simply misspoke, and I know that's been weighing on him. I think we made a fantastic show that is going to appeal to a wide audience and hopefully captures what I love about this Spider-Man. That he's a guy who cares deeply about the people around him and always tries to do the right thing. I truly think the guy probably misspoke. But it's like, man, you gotta realize how much that word has lost all fucking meaning.
Well, how charged it is.
Yeah, it's unnecessarily charged. The silliest thing. But you know, for shits and giggles, I wanted to look up Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man to see if there are these like chuddy websites that are actually calling it, you know, woke. Because
Yeah.
why wouldn't they?
Of
right?
course.
So I Google it right now.
Mm-hmm.
We scroll down a little bit. There's one of them, and I laughed. You got the wrap. It has the release schedule. Oh wait, no. I typed in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man woke because I just wanted to make sure. When I was looking up this quote from this actor, I was like, there's got to be one, right? Cosmic Book News. So remember, Hudson says this show is not woke. Well, Hudson, you're wrong, because Cosmic Book News says Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man review woke nonsense. So there you go.
Well, I mean, honestly, you put that on any video online right now, and you're gonna get a guaranteed 100,000 views.
So this
which
website,
is fucking sad
so-
for the human race.
So this web
So fucking sad.
just to put a bow on that, it's just the fact that he just goes like, well, that's the thing I love. It's not woke. And this thing like, woke nonsense. Might as well be spider woke.
Might as well be Spider-Man and his woke friends. The DEI hire Firestar, you know, because she's a woman.
Oh my god.
You know, and Iceman, it turns out years later, was all the time, this time gay. So that's a DEI hire. Spider-Man. And you know what? You know what these
modern
chuds,
audiences.
You know what these chuds are going to go? They're going to be like, well, you know what? Spider-Man has to hire a woman and a homosexual because it's DEI. But now he does it. Am I getting a text from somebody saying you're being too loud?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a little...
It's just, I'm sorry. I was just kind of looking at this because I'm like, because in my head, I'm thinking, there's no way. Because I've never actually read any articles from these fucking trash hole sites. So I was like, I'm just going to scan. When you were vamping, I was just kind of scanning through the article real fast. Because I'm like, there's no way these fuckers are going to write whole ass articles with just buzzword sentence nonsense jargon.
Yeah.
Literally what that whole fucking review was saying like complaining that you know, they literally put modern audiences with quotes. They put the agenda with quotes, and I'm like, are you just like transcribing like a fucking Critical Drinker video? Like, what are you doing? Again, I want to drive home the point with this in Captain America. This is all fucking stupid.
It's
The world
fake.
sucks ass. Let's enjoy some comic books like we're going to do with this next book. All right, we got a comic book to review. This is Kid Cudi Presents Moon Man, Volume 1, Ignitions. This is an ongoing series from Image. It's Kid Cudi. Let me pull up here because it's him and another writer.
There's a few people in the credits.
Yeah.
So we should read them all.
So, yeah, Kid Cudi wrote it with Kyle Higgins and Joe Clark. Art by Marco Legatti.
Mm-hmm.
Colors, do you know?
No, I was just saying, like, I know there's, like, on the cover, there's, like, 7 names. Yeah. And to me, that's at least all the way through the colorist, at least.
So
Maybe
the layouts,
letters.
I think, change in issue 5 because it's Federico Bertoni works on them. But colors by Igor Monti. Letters by Hassan Otasame El-Halu, I think. I am probably butchering these names. I apologize. Editorial and design, Michael Bushtil. Production, Wesley Griffith. Moonman suit design by Chase Conley. Produced by Karina Monasil. Special thanks to Vita. I'm reading them all. Vita Yala and David.
Vita Vey?
Vita. Damn it. I had it. You stop. I had one more name. David F. Walker. There we go. So you found it before I did, and then heard about this book before I had done. And anybody knows me knows I've been a big fan of Kid Cudi's music. It's been very inspirational to me. I think also I listened to his music at a very formidable part of my life, and I think a lot of what he was going through mentally, I think I could relate to some of it on some level. I think a lot of people could. That's what's made his music so good. So if he's acting in something, I'm excited for him because I know he's a very artistic guy, creative guy. So to see him go into a medium that I love and do something completely new or something outside of music is interesting.
Well, yeah.
Volume 1, Ignition, by the way.
All right, and Brian Posehn is a comedian first and foremost. He's done like some TV and film work, bit parts, but he's done comic books. Kevin Smith, doing comic books and things like that. When I was a kid, there was a rapper named Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and he was
a name.
Oh, dude, he had the best that first Gorillaz song, Clint Eastwood. He's the guy rapping.
Oh, okay.
His flow is fucking awesome, and he was the first one to rap about like comic books, like Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler and shit. He would drop like names like that and shit in his bars and like in his songs, and it was like, okay, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah, more
because that spoke to me. Look, I mean, whether you like it or not, I could listen to the music, but I couldn't relate to the music of like Ice Cube. I was living in, Marion,
yeah.
Iowa. I mean, I didn't have the same experience, right? But when a guy was rapping about comic books, I'm like, oh, I relate to that, you know. So he was one of my favorite rappers. I don't know if he ever wrote comics, but there's been other artists too who have written, or other musicians and stuff who've written, delved into the comic book thing. I wonder how that works.
Eminem,
you know what I mean?
Eminem is in a Punisher comic book.
Right, but he
Remember
didn't
that?
writ it.
No, but he was in it.
Okay.
No, but yeah.
It doesn't count, dude. What the fuck?
Well, it's
What the fuck?
It's interesting because, well, Cuddy had he was one of the writers on that movie that came out for Netflix, Intergalactic. So I'd seen him like venture out, and I've seen him in act and other things. So
He's clearly he's a storyteller.
So I've seen him venture,
and he's super talented. So
I've seen him venture outside of music, and already. So, but even then, just like his music, it's still very much a story about him. And I think like this book is set in Ohio. Like Ramon, the main character's name is Ramon. I think there's something with that name. I can't remember. There's some. It's not like his kid's name or something, but he's had that name for certain some significance to her somewhere. I've heard somewhere, I think. But like, there's just many references to things with his music and things like that throughout the book that I've noticed. And the Moon Man aesthetic has always been a part of his career. That's like where he's made like his first studio album, like is Moon Man, The End of Day. Like, and then it was Moon Man 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager. And like that Moon Man persona he's just had throughout his career. So it's funny because now we're seeing that kind of persona evolve into a superhero and into a comic book. Mm-hmm. Now, the book itself, look, I understand being such a fan of his music and being such a fan of his work that I'm going to have bias coming in. I think it's an enjoyable book, but even with all that bias of being a Cuddy fan, I'm not going to be like, you got to read this book. I'm not going to tell you to be like, this is a must-read book. I think it's an enjoyable book. Mm-hmm. I think it's a fun origin story for a superhero, but it's not like, oh my God, this is earth-shattering. And that's okay, too. It doesn't need to be that.
Can I give you my impression?
You, an outsider, give me your thoughts on this book.
You introduced me to Kid Cudi, and I've been a big fan of everything that I've heard. Look, I'm going to be really honest. The last 5 years since I've been making my own music, I don't listen to much other music.
Wow, what a narcissist.
I totally am. A lot of it is, you know, I'm either listening to stuff that I'm about to put out and listening for imperfections and making sure that it sounds, you know, perfect and blah, blah, blah. Or I'm listening to the radio station that I work for. You know what I mean? It's just whatever. I remember seeing the cover for it, and I would love to have that like on my bookshelf.
Oh, I would love to get this as a poster.
Yes, or a T-shirt. But would I ever pull it off the shelf and read it again? I don't think I would.
No, I think you only read it because I bought it. And I
wanted to get it if you weren't going to, because I thought it was important with your with the fact that it's a comic book, the fact that you love Kid Cudi as much as you do. Yeah. You've even gotten me into him to a point. You know what I mean? To a point where I'm like, yeah, he's fucking awesome as shit. I think it was important that we did review this book because of those ties and whatnot. But I think if I remember correctly, like the first issue was like you couldn't find it anywhere. Or something,
and then I by the time I had found out about it,
yeah,
they were already
collected
selling, this collection.
Okay, yeah, so, that's what we were. Okay,
so I was, and you know me, I usually just buy trades anyway. I usually just buy the collections. Excuse me.
It's a story that I can totally, absolutely get behind, but it's also
let's kind of break it down a little bit. So
I will it's a story. That is a really great story, but that I relate to. But it's a story that's been told in so many different other ways that you really have to tell me the story in a way that just shakes me for it to make an impression. Mm-hmm. Okay, Now, by the end of this book, I'll say this: like, I enjoyed reading it. I wasn't a huge fan of the art. I like action sequences that have clear kind of representations of body parts, so I can kind of tell what's happening. A lot of this was, hey, here's a lot of energy, and then maybe a head, and then like here's like, you know what I mean? It just, that's the only thing I didn't really like about it. Keith Geffen, one of my favorite artists ever, one of my favorite writers who created Ambush Bug and made Lobo who he is in the DC Comics today. And I think he actually came up with him. He's created him. Draws a lot like this guy does. It's an acquired taste, but once you start getting into it, you understand like the way that person draws and how they represent certain things, and then you're like, okay, now I can kind of get behind it, and now I can kind of get into it more, and now understand what you're trying to convey with your art a lot better. I think from the layouts thing that issue 5 might have been, the art might have had an assist or whatever, but that's regardless of the point. Again, my main gripe with it, and we'll go through it, is that it's a story that's been told so many other ways, and this really wasn't groundbreaking to me at all.
Yeah, I mean that that's what I said too. Like
Cool name.
And look, I was gonna buy this regardless because I wanted it for my shelf, even if. Because my thought is, first of all, Image does a great job with their collection. So this is $10. So for me, it's like, okay, it's $10 and it's something I can put on my shelf. If I don't like it, it's still something to be like, oh, this is, something from, something I care about. Because like, oh, it's something.
It looks neat.
It's Kid Cudi's
It's
comic
Kid
book.
Cudi. You support you support an artist that you like.
And
it's
then
$10.
It's $10, and if I don't like it, I don't have to keep reading it. Nobody's making me read it. So it is. I would agree that I think that the biggest problem is that we have been. This is a run-of-the-mill superhero origin story. So everything for your criticism is honestly the opposite of how I feel towards it. While
Excuse
I think
me.
what you're saying is true, and I think it is a fair criticism, I think that's also why I kind of enjoy it as much as I do, because I can't remember the last time I read a number 1 of a brand new superhero, a brand new origin like this. However, problem is, it can feel a little formulaic. And I think that's what you're thinking.
I feel like when we were doing the Mayhem comic of the week,
you've read this book before.
I feel like when we were doing the Mayhem comic of the week, we read a number 1 that had a very similar storyline.
And you could argue that's just us reading comic books a lot. Like you could start to build formulas out of this, and I think that's fair because to me, I don't think the book really, really hits its stride until like the end of the first issue into the second issue. Like I think that's where for me the book picks up. And I would agree that the art took a little bit getting used to for me. I also think that the art is. I think that the disorienting nature of the art and how it is intentional. Narratively, I think that's what they're trying to go for. So I can forgive it, but I do see what you mean where there are some panels where I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to be looking at here?
Some of the fight scenes,
some of them, yes. I would agree.
The style,
like some
the
of these splash pages, holy shit. Man.
The stylized interpretation of humans and figures and faces and things like that, like that's, I have no problem with any of that. I know, like, in fact, I almost respect an artist more who is very. That's the one thing about Chu that I really liked, is that he was very deliberate, the artist, in portraying his characters, and there was realism to a point, but it was mainly like, hey, I'm going to be as kind of caricature as I want to be. And not to say that this artist is caricature at all. I'm saying that you're not going to look at this art and be like, oh, that's a real person. You're not.
Yeah.
But you are going to look at every character in the book as the same character in the same world and the same universe, because he draws figures and faces in a certain way. It's not, again, he doesn't do like every single person the same. I'm saying that he does it stylistically, the artist, in such a way that it's like, okay, you're getting the hang of like who this person is. Like, for instance, Addison. I think there are parts of the book where you're like, Addison is the other.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for the first like 3 or 4 times we see her, I think it's a dude. Is it a dude? I think it's a girl.
Addison's a girl.
But the first 3 or 4 times, it's not the way he draws. It's not clear that it's, you know what I mean. They take a while to get to that too. Anyway.
So anyway, the story is that Ramon is on a team that works for like essentially a privatized space, like SpaceX, but they're called Janus.
Let's say it's like a cross between Amazon under Jeff Bezos and SpaceX.
It's insert evil corporation here.
Right.
And it's, you know what? Yeah, the formulaic. You know, you could say that a lot about this.
I appreciate it.
Again, I want to be very clear. I think it's an enjoyable book.
Mm-hmm.
I think the characters are fun and have talk like normal people do. And I think that when he shows off his powers, it's cool. Like, I love when the art like really gets stylized.
I don't mind that really by the end of the book we still really don't know what they are.
Exactly. And you're supposed to be. It's an ongoing series. But anyway.
I gotta say, what's with all of the fucking like parachute?
His costume?
Yeah, coming off.
It's
of
his old NASA space.
Yeah, but all the stuff from the parachute, all those hooks from the parachute on the end.
Whatever. Anyway, point is,
I want to show you just one thing.
Anyway.
Okay.
I was trying to
Okay.
send it up. So anyway, this book, this first 5 issues, this Ignition, is basically covering the idea. So Ramon is a part of a team with Addison and Glenn, and I think and then the billionaire Buckley.
Buckley is the son of like
he's the son of the guy that runs Janus.
Janus,
and Janus is doing space missions, and so they go to the moon. And there's 7 minutes of what they call cosmic turbulence, where they lost recordings and everything changed and nothing, but we don't know what happens. And so then they come back to Earth, and the first thing we see of Ramon is
They've been under quarantine for what? How long? 6 months.
He's doing tests in the secret lab for Janus. They're doing tests on them, and then
quarantine basically.
The story picks up where he's going back home to Cleveland, where his brother is staying in their old family home because their parents passed away. And just example of what I love about the art. So his brother asks him like what happened, because everybody knows that like they were lost for like 7 minutes and then they came back to Earth and everything. So the people know about him and everything. So his brother asks him about like what it was like, and he kind of looks down to describe it, and it's just like this double page splash of just his hands and feet, and just like red and orange and yellow, all these crazy colors. And then there's like moments like that where I'm like, I really dig this art. And then, like, the fight scenes later when he's showing off his powers and just the color choice and the double-played splash when he's breaking up the riot with the protesters in the first issue, because his brother hates Janus because they're the evil corporation, and he wants to go to, like, protests and stuff, and he, like, breaks up a fight. And, like, some of this, like, you can't deny.
Yeah, the way that he
like jumps up in the air and tries to smash
the way that
down.
he's coming down
I would get a poster of that.
Shut up. The way he's coming down is almost like a cannonball, so it looks like he's almost like a comet.
Yeah.
Coming in, and the way the way that he yeah, all right.
I'm just
Why don't you just tell about it?
You do it then. Look at the colors.
I want to show you
fucker.
something. Fucking shoot it. So I think these are those things I'm talking about. Why are they?
Oh, the like pieces from his suit.
Yeah, but listen, man, it's like the same thing with capes in The Incredibles, man. Right?
Yeah.
No capes. These are why. At some point, you can't tell me that one of his villains or whatever is just going to grab onto those and fucking throw them around for a bit.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Kid Cudi? Come on. Give those people air.
I hate this when it's drunk. Anyway,
I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but listen, if you're going to be like, this is a new hero.
Yeah.
you gotta give me a reason to want it to be in existence. And listen, also, if I have the ability to make a comic book, I'm gonna do it. Whether people think it's formulaic or not, I'm gonna do it because that sounds awesome to me, right? So I have nothing against. I have nothing against anybody for making it. I have nothing against the formula. Whatever you want to say that I have criticisms about it. I have nothing against the book itself. It's just it didn't. At the end of it, I wasn't like, oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of it, I was like, that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that you like it, and I
wanted to point out the things that I really liked.
Everybody worked really hard, and the art is really cool.
Like
once you get used to it,
when he's out, he's by himself, and he's out testing out his powers because he just talked to Glenn because they got to do this big interview on TV about the mission, and Glenn was talking about how he wants out of everything, and he's just kind of tired of the life. And then you see the next few pages of just the art of him jumping around and testing out his gravity powers. Because essentially he's got this cosmic energy, and he can him and Addison and everybody in that mission except for Buckley can kind of manipulate gravity and shit.
Well, they talk about it it's so vague because it's look, we can do stuff with clean energy and space travel, and it's what? Good.
Anyway, but yeah, my favorite thing
makes sense.
My favorite things are when Ramon is just playing with his powers and understanding what he can do, and issue 2 especially has a lot of really cool scenes of him jumping around the city, and just the color scheme is great. I love the purple backlit sky and just things like that. But again, to your point, it does have that formulaic feel, and that's also all these years of reading comics and these 20-plus years of fucking superhero reboots and origin stories and seeing the, you know what I mean? We've kind of seen it, but again, to that point, that's what I kind of enjoy about it, because I haven't really had a character I'm I don't really know anything about this character. It's a brand new character. It's super vague, and they're trying to be as vague as possible, and it is nice to kind of be hey, I actually don't know what's going to happen with this and where the story is going. But yeah, I mean, when he punches this Janus truck, just obliterates it. Some of this art is just insane in this book. But I will say, there's a part where he's talking to his old friend from NASA after Glenn dies, and it's some of it, you're right, with the stylized art, I'm just it doesn't work it's when he is in the costume and doing and performing his powers and doing the cool shit, the art, I really enjoy it. I like it a lot.
Is the guy who did the cover of the collection, is he the same guy who drew it?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Because to be honest, if I'm looking, okay, what was that page?
It's one of the
turn back to the. That's fucking cool as fuck.
Oh yeah, beginning to issue 7 when he says to he's fighting the Janus paramilitary troopers, because Janus has so much money, they're pretty much running Black Rock and Amazon and all that shit.
Yeah.
And he's fighting them to again stop all these riots, and he's saying fuck Janus, and they recorded him, and there's a beam coming out of his eye, and there's just some really cool art, but then there are some times when there's people just talking where I'm I just don't like how this looks, and I agree.
I'm having a fucking gushers attack over here, dude. Wow. And I'm not talking about being excited about the book.
So eventually
there's a couple green ones in here, man.
His brother gets joined up with this freedom fighters, and they decide they're gonna go in and infiltrate Janus. Before then, Buckley is telling Ramon that he needs to come back to California and to he needs to do more tests and shit. And he's no, I'm staying home. Fuck you. And he's what do you think you could do? You don't have these powers. I do. And it's well, I want to know why you guys have powers. Blah, 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 blah. So then his brother, Colorado Springs, we see Addison do her thing, which her powers are vague too. We don't know what it is. Some weird cosmic shit. And then issue 4 is his brother is trying to break into Janus, and steal their data and like expose them because he joins this like cyber terrorist group, I guess. Or cyber freedom fighters, or the fuck you want to call them.
These fucking candies are fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
so
we have a bag of
course
candy in front of us,
they
and I'm
fuck,
just
they fuck up the plan, and so Ramon has to show up and save his brother because he finds out about their plans. And this is where I think the book is the most fun, because it's kind of like, again, a little formulaic, but just like little jokes that I think work, or like, fingers crossed that means their comms are out. They're like trying to escape, and he's telling them like maybe their comms aren't out because the alarms haven't gone off yet. And then like the very next panel, you just see the alarms go off, and he's just like, shit. But yeah, I think this is where the book starts to really cook for me. And it's like what I'm saying. I really think new series take like 1 or 2 issues to really get going. I will say there's some books like the number ones, I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome. I need to read more of this, whatever. But it's a new series. I truly feel like it takes like 1 or 2 issues for me to really be like, okay, I'm vibing with this. And this was the same thing. It took a couple issues for me to get into it. And I also feel what you're saying about it, where it doesn't really blow me away, because at the end of the day, the whole series ends with him escaping with his brother, but his brother going to like the private Janus prison, and the owner of Janus is offering him to let his brother out, but he has to join Janus and use his powers for Janus. And
then he goes try to break his brother out, and his brother's like,
no, I need to stay in prison because of that. Then what I do doesn't matter if I don't. Which I was like, it makes a good point of like, I did this to send him, like, I knew my consequences and I did it anyway because that's what principles are.
My fear about the book is that you have an idea about something, and he's got a couple writers with him, and
which is smart to have people that have actually worked in comics.
Yeah, absolutely. My fear is that you start going down that road of like, you have an idea for this character and whatnot, but you haven't fully fleshed it out before you start making it.
I do kind of feel that with this,
right?
Bit, yeah. I could see that.
You know who we're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that, because I enjoyed this. Of course, we didn't read that other one because it would have cost us what, $100. Go back and
read. People who have
listened
to the show know
what
we're
talking about. It's not that, and I don't want to treat it like that because I don't know, but it does a little bit like, okay, so why do you know what the end game is? You writers?
I was going to say, I don't know.
No, I know you don't, and I don't. But I'm saying, do you guys? Do you guys know why he has these powers? Do you guys? I mean, these are questions you guys should already have answered before you start making it.
And I don't. Well, I know this is going to be an ongoing series, but I don't see this going.
I'm not a
much
professional
longer.
writer either, so as far as I know,
well, I honestly don't know how. Like, they're probably going to do at least another volume, so at least another 5 issues.
Some of the best stuff ever has been written on the fly. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is, I can't imagine.
My criticism could be not invalid.
I'm just saying.
Fair.
I'm saying, like, I could imagine this. I don't know how long this series is going to run, but I could imagine it running super long because I just don't know how much of a focus he himself is going to have on it. And then, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it kept going, then it just says Kid Cudi presents Moon Man, but he's not even writing it anymore. It's just other people are doing it, and he just, he owns the character. He put his name on it, whatever it may be. But because the end of the comic, he fights Addison, and then let me pull up here.
You're fucking kicking my ass.
They fight. He gets away, and he just pretty much he broadcasts to the world who he is. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he sets up his phone. He records him, or he, puts a YouTube live, being like, "I'm the Moon Man. I worked for Janus. Here's what this is what happened." Blah blah blah. And then, okay, boom. Now that sets us up for the next issue of the ongoing series. Overall, would I recommend it to someone for the investment of $10? I don't think I don't think you're losing anything with buying this because it's an enjoyable book. However, like we've said so much, it's not groundbreaking. It's not something you need to read right now. Maybe wait it for a sale. Who knows?
Look,
but I enjoy it. But
I can't imagine anybody getting it and being like, "This fucking sucks." I mean,
for me, it's a solid 7 out of 10. It's an okay book.
I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. You know what I mean?
It's not bad. It's not
I'm not
horrible.
far behind. Again, it's just
it's just an okay book. It's very okay.
I think if the art was more, and again, more that style, and maybe that's
cover.
how he paints. You know what I mean? A different artist's work, their art looks a little different from medium to medium. Paint to pencil to whatever, or So I don't know, but then and then those are my 2 big criticisms. That and then those fucking giant things hanging off his costume. Other than that, I love that he's got a fucking bubble, like a glass bubble. Like that, it's so not real, nobody in the history of space travel has ever had just a glass bubble, but that's what makes his costume really cool because his costume's pretty basic.
I like that his costume is just a used space suit.
It basically is. He's got a space suit on, the orange kind of jumpsuit before, underneath, which would be underneath the actual space suit, the big white thing. So he's got a t-shirt, and then he's got a mask. Along with the hood thing that you would put right underneath the helmet, and then he's got basically a glass bubble, Mysterio style, and it's pretty fucking cool. But
I do like his character.
It's neat. It's just like I said. Why do you have those long fucking?
Will I Here's what I say. Will I read Volume 2? Maybe, but if it goes anything past Volume 2. Volume 2 has to really blow me away.
Volume 97.
To really be no, man, you gotta wait until issue 35. That's when the fucking book really picks up. Sad, because that is how the big 2 operate. Hey man, you're not reading right Batman. You gotta read issue number 1. Which issue number 1? Well, issue number 1 from the. Is it the New 52? Or is it Rebirth? Or is it All In? Or is it. Fuck you.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.